Hey guys, episode 36 of the ISA portfolio series. So if you want to get free share, I believe Trading212 are still working through the waiting list. So you can sign up using the link below and join the waiting list, and they will hopefully process you fairly soon. So this week I seem to have largely avoided the sort of major sell-off that everyone seems to be having. Sort of seems to be mostly in the sort of tech-y growth side of the market. Somewhere I have lost is the Jupiter Gold and Silver Fund. So that's taken a bit of a hammering early part of the week, and sort of down, about £3,000. BlackRock one isn't really down. I think about £300 or £400, but not sort of providing as much protection as you think it would be on the gold and silver side. Silver doesn't seem to be all that far down, but that fund's taking a bit of a hammering, so still happy to hold, see what happens in the future. And over to Trading212, seen a bit of a drop in the ISA. So portfolio's down about £2,000, and I've added £1,000 this week. So the ISA hasn't done particularly well. I do have my ARC pie, the genomics pie, so that's down about £200. Kind of hoping this carries on, to be honest. I know I put a bit in last week, and sort of it's £2,000 now, but I probably want this to be 5,000 or 6,000 longer term. So with the ISA new ISA season coming up in April, I want to sort of be putting quite a bit in here, so kind of hoping this either sort of stays where it is or maybe even comes down a little bit more, and then come April then maybe sort of put £1,500, maybe even £2,000 into that, and sort of that'll be the long-term hold then. So we'll see where that goes, but that's taking a bit of a hit this week. Bitcoin's been sort of up and down this week, but sort of taking a bit of a hit overall on the week. So Argo blockchain has come down £2.35 now, but happy with that for the sort of medium term. Maybe still sort of making the decisions on how long I want to sort of hold this and the Bitcoin ETP. So that's pretty much flat for the week. That's not too bad. One of the big performers this week, BT, 15.69% up this week. So not too bad. I got a little bit more in the invest account as well. So sort of thought this would happen eventually. It seems to be a bit of political upheaval within the company, and sort of being resolved. So that's pretty good. So happy to hold them long term. The individual gold positions I hold are sort of been, again, a little bit up and down, but sort of fairly low. Sentiment's in the red, but happy to carry on, see where that goes. The ETF, the REITs, seen a little bit of a sort of rocky up and down. DLR's sort of not held up too badly, but American Tower sort of taking a little bit of a hit. Again, so the REITs will probably be the bulk of the investment come April. Looking to hopefully sell some Bitcoin around then and just use all that cash to put into the ISA. The alternative would be selling stocks in the invest account and putting it in the ISA, but I'd rather not do that. It'd be good to sort of leave the invest account as it is and just build this up with cash. And so, as I say, it'd probably be 2,000 go into the ARC pie, and most of the rest go into REITs. So quite happy to see American Tower sort of coming down, and all of the others really, because obviously this is only a £500 position, so don't want to be, buying in April, May time at sort of higher prices. So quite happy for the REITs to continue coming down, especially DLR. And the sort of impact healthcare REITs and that sort of thing, they're all sort of small positions, generally under £1,000. So if they're sort of coming down till April, that would be ideal. So First Majestic, as I say, the Jupiter fund in my Hargreaves Lansdown has dropped fairly significantly. First Majestic is sort of one of those that's been hit hard. So we'll see where this goes, but fairly bullish long term on silver. It's got a lot of industrial use sort of in the recovery, as well as sort of monetary protection with gold going up. So quite happy with that. Polymetal, again, sort of up and down, but fairly flat for the week. Still seems crazy valuation, and down 9% on that now, so holding that. Most of these others are the Arc Pie stuff. Things like Stag Industrial, just sort of staying where it is, basically. But again, sort of happy for that to stay where it is, and then be putting a load into that when the ISA opens. Sylvania, sort of fairly flat for the week. Had the ex-dividend date for the special dividend, so I think that was midweek. So there's a little bit of a drop midweek after you're not entitled to that dividend anymore, and now it's come back to just about £1.25. So kind of thinking what the next target will be for this. Leave your thoughts in the comments if you've got any targets on Sylvania. Sort of been reading a lot of people thinking it's going to maybe £1.50 in the summer, or maybe £2 longer term. So that might be something to think about. Taylor Wimpey done pretty well, 8% in the last week. The house builders do seem to be going well. So I've got this and Barrett in the invest account as well. So they're all doing pretty well. Tritax Big Box had supposedly had a rights issue. So I've left £150 in free funds, sort of signed up to this, and it said you can have some shares at £1.03, but they've not gone yet, so not quite sure what's happening with that. If you know me, you know I don't even like having £150 in free funds. I tend to keep everything invested. So see what happens with that. Not quite sure if I've missed the rights issue or what happened. And Volkswagen, again, another big mover for the week. So 11.5% up. Seems to be just sort of bullish sentiment towards them. Haven't seen any major news, and sort of a little bit of froth coming off Tesla and NIO and the sort of big EV stocks. I think everyone's maybe coming around to the idea a little more that the sort of legacy car makers are not going to die, and they make a lot of money, and they will be able to make EVs as well. So it'd be interesting to see where that goes. So that's the ISA, and the invest account is up about, looks like £2,000 or so, maybe £1,500, and I've added £1,000 to this week. So I put that partly into Broadcom, about £500, because that was down this week with sort of the rest of the tech side of things sell off. So bought 2 more shares, and the rest went into TSMC because they've taken quite a hit from their sort of highs. It's about £140. So down to sort of $120. I thought nice time to top up. I do want this to be a larger position, but I was just wary of sort of the valuation where it was. So that's come down. I'm in the black. I'm in the red actually on that. So again, kind of happy if that carries on. I do want to build it up to a much larger position. And the rest of shares this week sort of do seem to be broadly up on the sort of value side. A lot of money going into the sort of undervalued stocks, it seems. So Barrett was up. I think Archer Daniels was just slightly up. It just seems to be a steady grower. Barrett up, about 8%. Not too bad. Bristol Myers, pretty flat for the week. BT, obviously, I've shown. eBay's taking a little bit of a hit. Might sort of bump that up a little bit. FedEx, fairly flat. Yes, I bought a penny stock. Just seemed to be fairly low. They were supposedly suing Philip Morris. See where that goes. I just had a little bit of free funds, so thought I'd throw it at that. Intel, fairly flat for the week. International Paper done pretty well, 9% up. Again, sort of want to hold these long term, supplier to Amazon and the like, so pretty happy with them. All the ETFs pretty much have been doing terrible, in particular the Global Clean Energy. So I did put some into this last week, obviously a little bit early. It was before the crazy sell-off. Well, I say crazy sell-off, it's not really. It was a little bit overvalued, but obviously I want this to be a much larger position than it is. So £2,000 in at the moment. I can't remember where this sort of sat in the total portfolio, maybe about 10,000. So quite happy for this to be coming down as I'm sort of selling crypto and that sort of thing. Fair amount will be going into that, so not too bothered if that comes down a fair bit further. The sort of water ETF slightly down a bit. All the rest are just sort of taking a little bit of a hit. The emerging markets, they don't go down huge, but it sort of adds up. So mostly down sort of 4 or 5%. Kroger, nice little 7% gain this week. Sort of a defensive one. They all seem to be sort of just rising a little bit as tech sells off and growth sells off, and everyone sort of starts to look at price to earnings ratios and that sort of thing again. Sort of distant memory, it seems, but Lockheed Martin doing well, 3%. Merck and Micron, I think, pretty flat. Nintendo taking a bit of a hit. I suppose it is kind of tech, so 5% down on this at the moment. Got, I think, a little bit more in the ISA as well, so it's about £1,400, but it's a big position that I want to build up. So again, happy for it to come down, and I'll put more into this as more funds come. Porsche, obviously, with Volkswagen doing really well this week. Porsche have done a little bit better. Seem to be sort of probably all banding together with the political issues, infighting and that sort of thing between them and Volkswagen. Again, any new people, if you don't know, Porsche stock is essentially a holding company that just own Volkswagen stock. So you're not buying Porsche, you're buying the VW group. Raytheon, not too bad, 4% this week. Just part of the sort of value shift. Rio Tinto seen a little bit of a hit. Did have their ex-dividend date pass, so I think it was quite a big dividend, sort of $3 or something. Can't remember exactly, but I would see sort of a fair sell-off as kind of expected. So not too bad on that. Royal Dutch Shell, still sort of powering away with the increasing oil price, nearly sort of $70 now for Brent oil. So not too bad. Did get to £15. I didn't see that. So not too bad. Hoping their shift to renewables can come from this profit with the oil price going up again. Sylvania, as I say, sort of not too bad for the week. Just a little bit in the invest account. Taylor Wimpey, 8%. Tyson Foods done pretty well. Not seen this in the 70s, sort of at all. So this is a first, 11% up, even with a little bit of FX impact loss. So pretty happy with them. Seemed a great valuation when I bought it, and seems to be sort of coming good. Unilever, my free share, is still down. Wondering whether to, maybe in the sort of £37 region. I was thinking about upping this, but still seem a little bit expensive considering market conditions, but it is sort of a long-term grower. So I may bite the bullet at some point with that and buy a little bit more. And the video games ETF has come down with the rest of the tech sell-off. Obviously, I've only got £800 in here at the moment, so it's hopefully going to be a fairly big position long term. So it seemed to be a little bit frothy after the sort of recovery from March. It was down at sort of $20 earlier in last year. So quite happy for that to sell off a little bit more. I'll be happy to average down and build this up. So that's the portfolio for the week. Kind of shows you sort of value investing versus growth investing. Really, you don't tend to get walloped in the downturns, and you can gain a reasonable amount on the upside. Maybe not quite as much sort of as the growth investors, but if you're looking for something a little bit more steady, then personally I think this is the way to go. So leave your thoughts in comments below. Drop a like, as always appreciated, and subscribe if you want to see more. See you soon.